Welcome back to Roundtable. I'm your host, JD Wessel. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month at Northwest, and one organization is attempting to bring more justice towards preventing violence. Our guest today is Rachel Hoover, a member of the Violence Prevention Group of Green Dot. She joins us today via Zoom call. Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
It's awesome to have you, Rachel. And I guess the first question is, could you explain what the Green Dot program is and how it relates to October's Domestic Violence Month?
Yeah, so Green Dot is a violence prevention program that uses the principles of bystander intervention to prevent power-based personal violence. And that means domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking. So I want you to imagine a map of our campus, and on that map, some red dots start popping up. And those red dots are instances of power-based personal violence. So if the problem is red dots, then the solution is a green dot. And green dots are when someone uses his or her words and behaviors to intervene and prevent violence from happening. Green dots are small choices like checking in with your friends, calling someone for help, or getting someone else involved in the situation. So the whole purpose of Green Dot is to have more green dots than red dots on our map and to reduce the rates of power-based personal violence in our community. So how Green Dot relates to Domestic Violence Awareness Month is that Green Dot teaches students how to recognize the warning signs of how to recognize the warning signs of domestic violence and the appropriate ways to intervene as a bystander and help the person who might be experiencing the domestic violence.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And with that being said, who are some of the people here on campus that are involved with the Green Dot team, and what are some of the roles that they have to take on?
Yeah, we have several great people on our Green Dot team. They're all faculty and staff from all over the university, and they help me facilitate the trainings as well as promote information about Green Dot. They all really deeply care about the issue of preventing power-based personal violence and keeping students at Northwest safe. So we have people from Greek Life, Megan Deshawn Runge and Jim Goldbranson, Chris Jacobson from Human Services. From Wellness Services, we have Courtney Koch and BK Taylor. In Residence Life, we have Mike Miller and Rose View. We have Jackie Lawfrey from Trio Services. And then we have Dr. Bradley Gamblin from Psych and Jordan Mill from Campus Rec. So a wide variety of people who help me out with Green Dot.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, me being a part of Greek Life, I also remember coming to some of the Green Dot sessions. But for those who might not know, what are these Green Dot sessions about, and what are some of the things that you guys do at those sessions?
Yeah, so we have actually two types of Green Dot sessions. The first is the big Green Dot bystander training, and it's not really your typical violence prevention training. When you think of violence prevention training, you probably think about someone just lecturing at you about what you shouldn't be doing. But Green Dot really takes kind of a tough topic and makes it very engaging. There are lots of activities throughout the training and gives students the opportunity to practice being a bystander. So it really starts out with a discussion of what a bystander is, and then moves to recognizing the warning signs or the red dots, and then how to do the green dots, and then finishes off with a discussion about changing the norms around violence and creating a culture where everyone is expected to do their part. And this training is in person and usually 3 to 4 hours long. And then the second type of Green Dot session we have is a Green Dot workshop. And right now we're doing all of our Green Dot workshops virtually through Zoom. And the workshop highlights just kind of the most important parts of Green Dot. And it's a quick rundown of the program. It still has the fun activities and discussions. It's just shortened. And the workshop is about an hour to an hour and a half long.
Oh, and that's phenomenal to hear, Rachel. And I mean, you already kind of touched on it, but who are some of the people around the university that support Green Dot? Obviously, you talked about Greek Life, and just other clubs and programs around campus that have helped you guys. Who are some of the ones that show some of the most support?
Yeah, so a great partner of Green Dot is actually UPD. Clarence Green and Amanda Cullen are really supportive of our work. And I've also been working to get Green Dot integrated into seminar classrooms. So if we can teach our first year students how to intervene when they see an instance of power-based personal violence, when they first arrive at Northwest, our campus will be a lot safer in the long run. I also advise a student organization called CARE, which stands for Concerned Advocates for Relationship Equality. And they are all about promoting awareness around domestic violence and sexual assault. So I work closely with them to put on events like Take Back the Night and the Clothesline Project. And really just by having a program like Green Dot at the university, it shows that Northwest is committed to preventing violence. There are a lot of bigger schools that are doing a lot less than what we are doing. So it really shows that Northwest cares about its students.
Absolutely, and I've liked all the resources that we do have on campus that have been able to do things like you're doing. You and Green Dot have done a phenomenal job from what I've experienced so far. But folks, with that, that's all the time we have for now, and when we come back, we will have more informative discussions on violence prevention and how you can help. Again, you're watching Roundtable on KNWT, Channel 8. Welcome back to Roundtable. I'm your host, JD Wessel. Domestic violence on a localized level here in Maryville also has resources for people in need to utilize. Our producer, Will Linder, sat down with North Star Advocacy Center counselor Megan Kosman to find more information about their organization.
So North Star Advocacy Center is the domestic and sexual violence program. We cover actually 5 counties in the Northwest area. So we cover Nottoway, Gentry, Atchison, Worth, and Holt counties. So we are a domestic and sexual violence shelter. So we offer shelter to anyone who is fleeing domestic violence, who's in immediate and present danger of domestic violence, intimate partner violence. And then also if someone has been sexually assaulted and they don't feel safe returning home, then we offer shelter to them as well. As far as sexual assault, again, there's no specific identifier that's going to say, yes, this person has been sexually assaulted. I mean, this is something that could happen to anybody as well. Again, it doesn't matter your ethnicity, your race, your gender, where you come from, how much money you have. If you're a college student versus if you're not a college student, this is something that can happen to anybody. And so sometimes sexual assault victims they want to go forward with charges. They want to talk to law enforcement. They want to go to the hospital and get an exam. They want to testify in court. And then a lot of times they don't want to do any of that, or they only want to do parts of that. Like maybe they're okay with getting the safe exam, but they're not okay with talking to law enforcement. And they're definitely not okay with talking or with going to court. And it just completely depends. And so at North Star, my coworkers and I very much advocate and promote what they want to do, and we're going to support them because, it's completely understandable. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this month we are going to be out in the public, limited because we're in a pandemic, but so that kind of changes a little bit of things. But we have a raffle going on for this entire month. You'll find us at different churches and a couple different businesses this month that have agreed to collaborate with us, and so we're very grateful for that. This raffle, we're raffling off a quilt that a church group made for us, and it's a beautiful queen size purple quilt, and purple is the awareness color for domestic violence, so it's just perfect. And it's going to raise money and come back, 100% of that's going to come back to our organization that helps victims relocate to safe housing. It helps them pay a utility bill. It helps, again, eliminate that barrier that makes them feel like they have to return to their abuser.
Answered a couple of the questions that I had for you, but I guess one more that I do have is, if you had to give a pitch to someone on why it's important to attend Green Dot and maybe even get more information, what would you tell them, and what direction would you point them in?
Yeah, so I think every student should attend a Green Dot training because you never know when you might find yourself in a situation where you can make the difference in someone's life by intervening and stopping power-based personal violence from happening to someone else. Being aware and knowledgeable of the issues are the first steps, but Green Dot really teaches you how to recognize the signs and what you can do to go from just a bystander to an active bystander. The concept of power-based personal violence is extremely broad and complex. So it might feel like as an individual, whatever I do doesn't make a difference. But when a lot of individuals start making the same decisions, we all start doing green dots, those actions build on each other and will eventually outweigh the red dots and the violence, and we will make Northwest a safer place for everyone. For more information, you can go to nwmissouri.edu/greendot, and we have all sorts of information about Green Dot, as well as registration for our bystander training and our virtual overviews. We are also with Wellness Services, so if you follow them on social media at NW_wellness, we post updates about our trainings on there.
Awesome. So I think that is all the time we have with you, Rachel, but again, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, even me being in a fraternity and going through some of these trainings already, I learned more today than I knew, about the last time I went. So that it's been very helpful talking to you today. And folks, for more information about how you can help someone in need, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is always available by calling 1-800-799-7233. And North Star Advocacy Center website here in Maryville can also be reached by searching north-star-ac.org. We'll be back next week with more topics that inspire. For Roundtable, I've been your host, J.D. Wessel. Have a pleasant evening.